Good morning, everyone. This is Clara with Card Stamping with Clara. I'm glad to be back to doing videos for you folks. And I thought this time that maybe we would gear this towards the individual that had not had an opportunity to maybe stamp some cards before. So I'm going to try to make this one just as simple as possible and using the fewest amount of supplies so that it'll give you an opportunity to get started. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd appreciate your business. I have a host code here that if you purchase something from me, if you would please use it as long as it's not up to or not more than $150, because if it gets to be $150, you can get some free product. So you don't want to lose that. I'm going to show you the card that we're going to be making today is going to be this first birthday wish out of this little set right here. It's called the Garden Birdhouse Photopolymer Stamp Set. It's got 3 different kinds of little birdhouses, 3 little birds. It's got a branch with leaves, some pretty little flowers, and then some sentiments as well. So we're just going to take this and make that first card using only this set and using color and paper and a little embellishment, and you'll see what we'll turn out with in a few minutes. So we'll need that, and we're going to need some ink. We're going to need the Mossy Meadow ink pad and the Highland Heather if you choose to use that one. You don't have to. And the important one in this case is the Memento Tuxedo Black. This one is designed for the Stampin' Blends, and that's what we're going to use today to color with. So it's important that you use that so that your lines don't smudge and what have you. So we'll talk a little bit about what I did with these, and then we'll get started. Like I said, this is the birthday card that I made. It's very simple, very easy to make, and I think it turned out to be a pretty card. This paper in behind is called hand pinned. There's several different designs and colors and what have you, so you can make different looking cards right out of the same pack. So the color that I used is the Highland Heather in the background as a border, and then on the inside it says, "Hope each moment of your day is as special as you are." Stamped a little bird down in the bottom, and that's going to be the card. The other thing I did is I used some of that same paper, put it on the flap of my envelope, which makes it look really pretty too when you're sending it out. And if you want to, you can stamp a little bird or something there too. It's just up to you. So I'm going to lay this one back down, and then I'll lay these over as I talk about them. This is a different little birdhouse with a different little layout. Of course, this is the same packet of DSP or Designer Series paper. And like I said, it's very simple, but it looks different than the first card. And it has the same sentiment on the inside. So we'll lay that one over. And this one is just a note card, and I thought it made such a cute little note card. I put all 3 of the birdhouses on this one so that you can see what they would look like. Put these cute little flowers around the post, and I also put some cute little flowers on my envelopes for these. And in the inside, I didn't put a sentiment on this one. I just left it and just put a pretty little flower, and you can write anything you want to on. So that's a nice little note card that's just pretty, and somebody wants to drop a friend a line, they sure can. This one is also out of the same packet, hand-pinned DSP. And by the way, this DSP is on sale right now for $9.78 for a pack. And I believe you get 6 sheets. Wait a minute. It's 12 sheets. It's 2 sheets each. And it's got 12 designs. There's one on each side. So This one I embossed using some white embossing powder, and that's a little bit different procedure, but you know, that's for another day. And still, I've got very simple lines, and this is the mint macaron color. So that's a little hello card. Here's one that says welcome. And when the paper is so pretty as this is, you can just add a little something to it and let the paper do the work for you. I used some ribbon that matches the paper. And there I said, very simple lines, a couple little embellishments. This says, welcome, so glad you're here. And then I just stamped a black bunch of little flowers down in the bottom. I didn't color these in. And the last one is another hello card. And it's done in a Daffodil Delight. Is the yellow color. And because this had some lavender and, well, it's not lavender. It's probably light Highland Heather, or it could be purple posy in there. It's just really close. I used the Highland Heather as the blends that I used, and then I had some of these little embellishments and I added to it, and pretty much the same sentiment with the little bird on the inside. Okay, now then, we're going to get to making this card, and I tried to do as much ahead of time as I can so that you don't have so much time involved in watching these. So I'm gonna, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I tuck everything down in a little plastic bag, otherwise I lose it. So there you go. Let me slide this over. This is for the envelope. It kind of all fell out in all directions here, but we'll get it straightened out. All right, the thing that you always start with when you're making a card, and like I said, this is geared towards the beginner. You take a regular sheet of basic white cardstock that is 8.5 by 11, and you score it. The easiest thing to do is to score it at 4 1/4, and this is what I'm talking about when scoring. You probably can't see it real well, but there's been a little indentation made, and you can use the Stampin' trimmer that's got a score tool on that, or you can just very carefully, once you cut your card size, you can just fold it over, getting your edges, you know, as near perfectly lined up as possible. And then you take a bone folder like this, and you press in 2 directions, and that keeps it from getting whoppy-jawed. And you just kind of press it down, and then you have something that will open up. That's the purpose of the bone folder. Okay, the basic A2 card is 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So that's what we start with. And we'll lay that down. Then we're going to pick up this piece, which is the Highland Heather, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. It will go right here. And don't worry about trying to get all these different measurements written down, because you will be able to get to a printout on my website, and it will give you, all you have to do is print it, and everything's laying right there for you so that you can measure everything as you need to. This piece is, like I said, it's from that packet of hand-pinned DSP, but look what's on the back of it. So, well, I guess I've turned it upside down, but you can see it that way. It's got pretty little flowers on it. So I just decided that I like those little white leaves on the Highland Heather in this particular instance, and it'll go on top of that. Then we have, let's see if I can get it picked up. I pre-stamped part of the front panel so we wouldn't have a lot of stamping to do. But basically what you do is you stamp this leafy bough in Mossy Meadow to start with. Then you go back and you stamp the string or the wire, whatever you want to call it, that the birdhouse hangs on, and then the little bird. And the reason you do that is because you can't really line them up at the same time. Even on a Stamparatus, it makes it really easy to be able to go over your image when you're using the Stamparatus. But you can do this with a block if you don't want to invest that much right now. So this one we're going to complete. And then we'll have these, the sentiment piece. And I was going to show you that when you stamp your sentiment piece, you may want to do it on a larger piece of paper, and then you can take like this T ruler and, you know, kind of line it up the way that, you know, nice and straight, and maybe draw you a little dotted line or something to cut by. This is for people that do not have the Stampin' Trimmer. If you want to cut your paper and what have you with a pair of scissors, then I suggest that you get your little T ruler, because these things are really handy about getting things straight. You can make, like I said, a little dotted line that will be a line to cut by, and then it's not going to be crooked. I can't cut a straight line without having something to follow. So that's, you know, if you can, good for you. That's all I have to say. So, okay, what we're going to do before we start putting this together is stamp this last little birdhouse. And this is the little block I'm going to use. Now, on the list of things that I have on my web page that you will need for stamping, I only put an E block. It's bigger than this, and you can actually probably stamp all of your images with that one block if you're careful. In the catalog, they tell you you need 2 or 3 blocks, but you know, if you get an E, it's big enough to be the biggest one, and then you can put the little ones on it too. It's up to you. Like I said, I'm just trying to help you find ways to save money and get started if you think you would enjoy this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this little birdhouse with this black Momenta, well, it's tuxedo black. You will find sometimes I will not get it all out, or get it out in reverse or something, because I tend to be a little dyslexic. So, all right, I'm going to line up this over, and I'm just going to have to lean up a little bit and get that little string. There we go. That should be all right. Okay. I think we're okay with that. That looks pretty good. I actually have one over here that I'm going to switch out because I want to make sure that's good and dry before I start coloring. But I have a backup just in case I blundered. So these are the blends that we're going to use. We're going to use the Mossy Meadow, the Highland Heather, the Daffodil Yellow, the Daffodil Delight, which is yellow, and this is a lifter, color lifter, so if you bobble out a little bit, you can clean up the lines. So it doesn't have any color, but it'll help you clean up everything. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to color that little bird. I am going to use what's called the bullet end, because you got a little more control and a little less of the ink comes out. So if you are coloring this, you might want to put something underneath it. Sometimes these blends will bleed through. You can see a little bit of that yellow right there, and I don't know what that picked up, but anyway. We're going to color the roof, this Mossy Meadow. And it doesn't take but just a minute to color these. I'll glance over there and make sure that I'm coloring this the one like the one we just did. Or the one I just did, I should say. Okay. We'll go ahead and get that around the bottom a little bit. Okay. And I have tried this one two ways. I tried it coloring the entire birdhouse. Now this is the painting end. And the only thing about that, this is if it is new and it's got lots of ink in it, and I've used mine for a while, so it's not overloaded, but it could run across the lines. So, but if you got a large area, you see this is way more pointed, whereas this bullet end is kind of rounded. It gives you, like I said, it just gives you a little bit more control. I don't know if I got sidetracked a minute ago. I have colored the entire house in purple, but I think it looks better to leave that white panel up the middle. I think it just kind of sets it off. All right, let's start to put this thing together. I'm going to take this piece, and I'm going to take some of the multi-purpose glue. I believe this is okay. I may have used up more than I thought of my glue, but maybe we'll have enough to do this. I have 2 or 3 over here. I tried to empty them out, so I make sure that I don't waste any. I will say this. I used to think that it was a really good idea to put glue over the entire back of the card that you're gluing down, like. And what you want to do here is just line this up. But what I found out is it kind of gets too thick if you put too much glue. So, and right there I've got a tiny little smudge. And I've got a little eraser that I use here. It's a little mono eraser. And if you get a tiny little bit of something that, whether it was on your hands or you picked it up in some other way, it will take it off. It's not going to erase great big blobs of ink. I don't want to make you think that it will, but it does help if you just get a tiny little thing. All right, we're going to take this one and we're going to lay it on top of the Highland Heather. Again, this is 5 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 5 1/4 by 4. I'll get my tongue untangled here maybe by dinner time, I don't know. But I'm going to put a little bit of glue, like I said, kind of along the edges, not right on the edge because it tends to gush out if you do. But the advantage of using the glue is that it gives you a little bit of wiggle room when you lay it down, and it just works better for me personally when I'm lining things up, so that you can see that with this you can slip it just a tiny little bit as you need to line everything up. Now you don't want to press too hard until you get it where you want it. And I think that's going to be okay. Then I'm just going to kind of pat it. You don't want to do too much slipping and sliding once you get it lined up where you want it. All right, this goes right on to the front of the card base. This is called the card base. And this is the way I build the card. Okay, that looks good, I think. I'm going to pat that down. I'm going to come back and put this on in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and finish the inside. Guess who didn't color their little yellow bird a minute ago? We'll take care of that, and it won't take but a second to do it. I kept trying to decide what color bird I wanted with this paper. I don't think I've seen purple birds out there. I wasn't sure red would look right with it. Finally decided on yellow with this particular color. Okay. We're going to be having a celebration beginning August 3rd, I believe it is. And celebration is the time of the year, and they've started having 2 a year now instead of 1. We'll have this one before starting in August. I think it goes for about 2 months. And then there'll probably be another one after Christmas this year. But celebration is the time of year, if you're not familiar, that they put out products that you can earn for free. And for every $50 that you spend, there's a catalog that has free items in it. And some of them are really nice. I shouldn't say some of them are really nice. I should say some of them are extra nice. And, you know, we always got favorites. Let's just put it that way. We've had a look at that, but we can't show you. I could show you the outside of the catalog, but that really doesn't show you much. They've got all kinds of rules as far as, I think the intent is to try to get get everybody the opportunity at the same time as far as selling products and getting it to the customers and what have you. And I can understand that. I mean, it's not fair for some to get a jump on the others. So, all right, let's see if I can get this lined up. I think it is. Okay, now the inside's done. See that? And we'll finish up the outside. And the only reason I didn't do this first was because it'll make for a little extra bulk. And with the extra bulk, it can interfere a little bit on the inside. Now this little piece of paper, the Highland Heather piece, is 1 3/8 by 2, and the this little piece is 1 1/8 by 1 3/4, the basic white cardstock. Like I said, I've got all these written down and the instructions as to how to put it together. Okay, I'm going to reach back here. I forgot to lay these out, but I've got them close. I'm going to use some dimensionals on the back of this, because anytime that you raise something up on your card, it gives it, you know, it just gives it dimension, pure and simple, just plain old dimension. This is your pick a tool instrument that Stampin' Up sells. And I'm going to use that to pick up these dimensionals. I got 2. When you raise it up, it's sticky on one side. And in a second, I'll show you how to take the backs off. That's why this tool is handy. It's handy for a lot of things, but in this case, I think I'll put about 6 on that. Now, what you do is you just take that and you lift it up like that. It's not a big deal, but, you know, if you don't know to do it, but this is the easiest way to do it. That way, it'll just lift off without you having to peel it with your fingers. All right. Get this turned right. We'll lay it up here and see if I can get my eyeball to line this thing up. Okay, I believe that's about good. What I was trying to do, and this sort of thing I think is important. You see, I left, that's a little more than 1/4 of an inch there, and I left about that much between the bottom of the branch. Now, I just think it looks better to be balanced between this and this. You know, you could set it down here, or you could put it up there, but I just don't think it'll look as good. So that's why I left some distance on each side. These are called pastel pearls, and as you see, they come in 4 different colors. And I'm taking this darker one right here, and I think it added a little bit to the card. Just put one of these there, and there's another use for your tool. Okay, now then, I'm going to lay this over, and I'm going to show you how to cover this back flap if you want to. I'll put it that way. I've got a little, well, I thought I had planned well, but I guess I forgot my little mat, that it's just a little square that the glue doesn't stick to, but I think I can get it off this. This is a Tombow tape runner, and Stampin' Up doesn't sell them, but I don't have a Stampin' seal right now, and I'm going to use it. But you can get a tape runner from Stampin' Up if you're a mind to. And I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go over it about 3 times, some in the middle and near the edge. And then I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to get the ends. And what I try to do is get just as near to this crease as I can. You see, now this is the way your envelope folds. And your glue is on top there. Make sure that I didn't have any here. Now, what you want to do, this piece is about 6 by 2 1/4 or a little more. It just depends on, I would always advise that you measure the width of your envelope depending on what kind of envelope you're using. Then what you want to do is start on the side that folds. Well, I hope I've got that about right. And then press it down. There we go. Perfect. Now, you don't want it to look like that. So what you do is you take a pair of scissors and just trim right along the edge. And then when you turn it over like this, and this is why I do not put the tape runner on the piece of DSP that I'm using, is because you'd have this glue hanging over the edge. If you just put it on your flap, and right here, yeah, we're good to go, I think. There you go. So, that's all there is. It's fast, it's easy, and it really dresses up your card. So, folks, that's bringing us to the end of this quick little video. At least I hope it's not too long. And shows you how to make a simple card. Remember, we only used 1 stamp set. We didn't use any dies on this one. We didn't use any punches on this one. And you can literally cut every piece that I put on this with a T-ruler if you just don't have the money to purchase a Stampin' trimmer right now. Stampin' trimmers are great. I have one. I don't have the latest model, but I do have one. And maybe the thing I enjoy most is being able to do a whole stack of paper and score it at the same time. I'm trying to get my brain in gear. And score it at the same time and then cut them at the same time. And it's just a faster process. And then I keep a lot of card bases in my drawer ready to go at all times. So I don't stop and score and fold the card base. I always have one ready. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that, because this is geared to you ladies that maybe you haven't had an opportunity, maybe it's new to you, maybe you haven't heard about it. If you need a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on, is doing some cards so that anybody can do them. And then we're going to be certainly branching out. We'll do some embossing. And I think I'm going to do some short little videos that will be posted on my website, so that if you just want to know how do you emboss, or how do you, do this or that or the other, then you can look at it in a really short video, and then you don't have to be concerned about, well, I didn't know how to do that part. So anyway, enough said. If you would please, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. That way you can see each video that I do, and they will notify you when I've done a video. So I hope to be doing them on a regular basis. I won't say how often just yet, but I will be doing them regularly. So thank you so much for watching. Look forward to spending some time with you again. Thank you.